Hello guys, welcome back to the channel with your host that does the absolute most, spiritual intellectual 777 here once again. Welcome back to the house of greatness. So in today's video, what we're going to be talking about is ego traps and how they prevent you from experiencing joy, happiness, and peace. So the first point that I want to discuss in this ego trap is perfectionism. And with me personally, I have struggled a lot with perfectionism. Like that is something that I'm still working on overcoming. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even going to film this YouTube video right now because like, if you're wondering like, dude, like what camera are you filming on? I actually just bought a new a camcorder today, which is the Sony SuperShot HDR12. And, you know, if you're probably wondering, like, why in the hell are you holding your shotgun mic right underneath you? Well, it is because, you know, I saw that the camera had a hot shoe mic on it. And this camera I got for a pretty good deal at the pawn shop. It was like $150 plus tax. And the camera just came with all these features like, longer recording time, night shot, has a built-in mic port, HDMI port, and headphone jack. So that was something I definitely needed. And it definitely, has like, I think about 14 hours and 55 minutes of, recording time on like the highest definition, the highest quality image that this camera produces. And so, and it also has a built-in hard drive. You know what I'm saying? The hard drive is like 120 gigabytes. So I was like, you know what? That is a steal. I'm going to go ahead and pick this camera up because I wanted the freedom to be able to go and like, film. It's like weight, it has some weight to it. But yeah, anyways, I'm not going to bore you with all the technical jargon because this YouTube channel is not a tech review channel, but, I definitely don't regret it. You know what I'm saying? And to get to the point that I'm talking about, the reason why I'm holding my Rode shotgun mic right underneath my mouth is because the hot shoe mount is only specialized for like Sony type products. So I would have to actually go ahead and purchase a hot shoe adapter, and I'm going to see like if any stores around my area sells them because I don't feel like ordering it online and just waiting a few days. But if that's what it comes down to, I'll just go ahead and do that. But yeah, I was going to put off like shooting this YouTube video because I couldn't put the mic on top of it. But I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to preach what I practice, so to speak, and not wait until I have everything ready to go before I start filming. And that's what, I want to discuss with you is that, along your spiritual journey, you're never going to be fully ready. You're always going to be caught off guard somehow. Checking just to see if this mic is still on. But yeah, like you can't wait until, the perfect time to do something. Because there is never, ever a perfect time. Like if you want to, like, let's say start a YouTube channel, you don't have to have the perfect camera or the perfect lens or the perfect microphone or the perfect anything. You can just start filming with your smartphone and just get by with that until you get your money up to where you can buy a camera, some lights, a tripod, and a shotgun mic or lavalier mic of some sort. You know what I mean? So, do not wait. If you've been dreaming of starting a YouTube channel, you just got to get started. And I remember listening to this podcast episode called I Filmmaker, and it was featuring this Sean guy. I forgot his last name, but he has this YouTube channel called Think Media. And he also has a partnership YouTube channel with another guy, and it's called Video Influence or something. But he said in a podcast episode is that creativity works best under constraints. So I'm applying that right now by actually holding this microphone right underneath my mouth instead of having it mounted on a boom pole or mounted on top of my camera. I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna do some real guerrilla filmmaking type shit. And, it's a good thing that I have this like 10-foot long extension cable, because otherwise I would have to be real close to the camera and just be all scrunched up like this, and the video would not look really good. So I do not regret my purchase by any means necessary. Like I liked all the features in the camera, and I like that it has a built-in hard drive of 120 gigabytes. So now it expands my capabilities of what I can do with my videos. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to be just hunkered down to my what you may call it, my laptop, and I'll just be able to just do a whole plethora of things, like do some vlog type videos and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And like, I was very excited to purchase this. I still am. I'm happy that I got this camera. And so, don't let the fact that I'm discussing, my new purchase and all the equipment that I have, discourage you from starting a channel or a podcast or whatever. Because, having less equipment to work with actually makes you more creative, whereas having too much equipment paralyzes you. And a lot of the times we just block ourselves, from the simple act of meditating. Like, let's say that, you want to start meditating more. Well, if you start just meditating for like 2 to 5 minutes a day, just doing these micro meditations, it's going to get you jump started, and it's going to be a way for you to create consistency, for you to just sit down and, be able to calm your nerves, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to start out meditating for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, because that is a bit extreme. Now, I've meditated for, I think I've meditated for 2 hours once before, but I've only meditated for about an hour a handful of times. But mainly I just meditate between 10 to 45 minutes, even though I've been meditating for like 4 years. Because first of all, I got stuff that I want to do. And second of all, like, not everybody has time to do that. Like, yes, you have some sort of time to implement your spiritual practices, but don't let the fact that you hear these other people who are into spirituality and into meditating stop you from pursuing meditating and trying it out. Like I said, you do not have to meditate for an hour. It's not something that you have to do at all, and there is no right or wrong way to meditate. So I'm just going to say that right now, is that there is no right or wrong way to meditate. Meditation is meditation. You can find a technique that works for you. There is the standardized lotus position where you sit up right, and then you you go crisscross applesauce, and you start breathing in and out and closing your eyes. That's one way to do it, but you can also meditate while sitting in the chair, while laying on your bed. For me personally, I like to meditate by laying flat on my bed. That's how I meditate most of the time. Or you can meditate while, sitting barefoot in the grass. You see what I'm saying? So there is a plethora of ways to meditate. You don't just have to sit in a lotus position, crisscross applesauce. You know what I'm saying? And I also want to speak about, career stuff as well. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna speak on a personal story. So like, I wanted to pursue, a career in videography, filmmaking, and acting. Now, mind you, I didn't know anything about the business around like 2014 or 2014, 2015. I didn't know nothing about the business. I had no connections whatsoever. I didn't know about different camera types and how they function. I didn't know nothing about the different codecs. I didn't know anything about video editing, composition, frame rate, exposure, none of that stuff. But I knew that I was just feeling called to go towards this type of career path. And when I first started shooting videos, I shot on a camcorder. It's ironic because I'm shooting on a camcorder right now. But back in like 2015, I just I didn't know anything. Only thing I know was I was excited to shoot with a camera and be able to edit. You know what I'm saying? And I was having a lot more fun creating content then because my mind was much more open to learning and using my creativity to, tell stories and to be able to just be out here just telling stories. And you know what I learned around that time is that I'm learning to relearn now is that people don't really give a shit about image quality like they do with stories. Because the very first camera that I used was a Canon Vixia. I think that's what it's called. Canon Vixia. And I think it was the R600 model. I don't remember the exact model, but it was a Canon Vixia camcorder type camera. It shot full HD, and I was able to plug in the lavalier mic that, the broadcast journalism class provided along with the Canon Vixias. Just plug and play. And then, just shooting a bunch of interviews, shooting B-roll. And I noticed around the time that I started to build, quite a bit of a buzz around that time because, I was just doing something different than the average, person in the broadcast journalism class. Not that they weren't good, because they were more versed in video and editing than I was around that time. But I just been led to my intuition to do certain types of news stories and to just really just experiment and just put my creative ideas out there, regardless if it's perfect or not. And that was like an enlightening experience of people telling me like, hey, you got a good voice, your story has really impacted me. I've learned a lot from you. And it just made me feel good knowing that I helped people. And, around that time, I was just shooting video after video after video just for the school alone, way before I even started a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? I was creating content for the school news. And so now in 2019, it's like everything is coming full circle because, I purchased a camcorder, like I said, and now I'm filming on it. And it's kind of giving me nostalgic feelings right now, low key, because, it's lightweight and it's, has longer recording time and I'm able to just go travel lightweight, and now I have options now, I can either use my DSLR or I can use, this camcorder. And I gave this, camcorder nickname. Its nickname is Lil Shotty. And you probably wondering like, why did you choose that name, dude? Like, I mean, Lil Shotty, you could have gave it any more names. You could have gave it like another adorable nickname, but it just popped into my head. So I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to call my camcorder Lil Shotty because it's portable, and it's full of, good features for a camcorder, and if you want to know anything else about, camcorders, a fun fact is that they're specifically designed for video. You get way longer recording time and a battery life is amazing on camcorders, and even though like DSLR cameras provide like great image quality, you get less recording time, which was which irked the hell out of me because I wanted to be able to take my time and explain these messages like I wanted to, but I couldn't because I was being rushed by the camera in a sense. And so that's why I transitioned to filming on a computer. And now I am filming on my camcorder as we speak. I know I keep repeating myself, but yeah, you know, but all in all, you know, even if you're at the beginning of your spiritual journey, you have to realize that, you know, you're not going to have this hypersensitive awareness overnight. You know, it's going to take a lot of work and dedication. And the only thing you got to do is just get started, you know, start for 2 to 5 minutes meditating, start for 2 to 5 minutes grounding, if you want to start eating healthier, you know, just start eating regular salads and, you know, build up to eating completely clean. And just know that, you know, you reaching a higher level of consciousness is not going to happen overnight. It took me, you know, it took me doing a lot of inner work and dedicating myself to learning about, you know, my higher self, the ego, all that good stuff. It took me a lot of time. You know, I've read lots and lots and lots of books. You know, I didn't just start learning about spirituality intuitively, although that happened much later on. But, you know, mainly it was just me like watching a bunch of YouTubers like Teal Swan, Infinite Waters, Astro Sosin, listening to Robbie Cornelius's podcast on, you know, called Self Mastery Radio, which was formerly known as Ensoul Radio. You know, I was there listening to Robbie Cornelius since 2015 when his podcast was named Ensoul Radio, which stands for Inside Outside Life. But he simplified it to just Self Mastery Radio. And what other YouTuber did I watch? Other YouTubers that I watched much later on was like OJC, Victor Odo, Aaron Dowdy, Asha Renew. You know, I started watching those cats later on because I was just hungry for this type of information. You know what I'm saying? Just doing intense research, you know, watching spiritual videos from, you know, from sun up to sun up, pretty much. You know, it never ever stopped, you know, because I was just very hungry and very like engaged to learn, you know, and some of that hunger is starting to come back because, you know, I did get a little bit too comfortable and I stopped watching those videos as much. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, you know, just get started, you know, don't wait until the perfect time because there's no such thing. And if you keep procrastinating, sooner or later, you are going to wind up on your deathbed and you're going to live in regret that, you know, you didn't explore your spirituality. You didn't go and chase your dreams before the time was quote unquote right. You are going to regret, you know, not going after your crush. You're going to regret not, you know, going to travel around the world. You know, you're going to regret not taking chances in life that you know that you need to be taking. All right. So moving on to the next point. So the next ego trap that I want to discuss is watering yourself down. We're all guilty of it. You know, we've all been told our whole lives, you know, that we have to blend in and be normal, to be seen and not heard. And, you know, we even been told by some people in our lives, you know, oh, it's okay. It's okay to be your authentic self. You ain't got to worry. And then when you start embodying your authentic self, they'll start saying things like, not like that. And it's like, the fuck? You told me that I can literally be my authentic self, and now you're all of a sudden telling me that I can't? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, why? You know, we live in such a, I'm not going to say bullshit society. We live in such a society, I don't know why I'm getting tongue tied here, but you know, it's like society tells us, that we have to blend in and, we have to do what we got to do to survive. And one example that I want to use is from this movie called Cirque du Freak, Vampire's Assistant, which is a very underrated movie. And I definitely did enjoy watching that film. And if you haven't got a chance to watch it, go ahead and watch it by, purchasing it on DVD or Blu-ray. Or if you have a Netflix account, just search it up on Netflix. It's called Cirque du Freak, Vampire's Assistant, and just watch the movie. And there was this one scene in the movie where Darren Shawn's parents were getting on his case about hanging out with this guy named Steve. And his parents, were telling him, we don't want you hanging out with Steve no more. And, what we want for you is to go to college, have a family and have a good job. And literally what they yelled at him by telling him college, job, family, college, job, family, college, job, family. It's not that hard. As a matter of fact, we gonna roll the clip so you can take a look at that scene for yourself.
You are not going to be friends with that Steve anymore.
Mom, I'm not 5 years old. You can't tell me who I can and can't be friends with.
You are on a good path, Darren, and that Steve is knocking you right off that path.
What path?
The path to a happy, productive life. To a good college, a great job, and a family of your own. A happy, productive life. College, job, family. College, job, family. And one day, if you're really lucky, you'll be standing here yelling at a teenager of your own.
College, job, family. College, job, family. College, job, family. It's not that hard.
And basically, in a nutshell, that's what society constantly tells you is go to school, get married, live in a good house, get a good job, have some kids, and bada bing, bada boom. That is a happier life. And so my camera is telling me right now that the battery is pretty low, but the camera is still recording. So I'm just going to keep recording. Like, I'm not going to stop because the battery icon is blinking. I'm going to stop when I'm done. And so if I got to record a second take, which I am going to record that and then, shoot some B-roll later, I'm going to start going all out on my YouTube videos from now on, because I don't want these just to be me talking in front of the camera type videos. You see what I'm saying? And so, for a lot of us for a long time, we just been watering ourselves down just to appease other people. So for example, like, let's say that you're in school, right? And then, you start expressing your authentic self. You may be a huge comic book fan, or you may be, like, let's say, a huge tech geek or whatever. And you start expressing yourself unapologetically to people. And then you start getting made in fun of, right? They start teasing you because, you're a quote unquote nerd, or because, you like certain stuff. And because that experience scars you, you tend to close yourself down. For instance, when I was a little kid, and even into adulthood now, I've always been hyperactive and I've always been expressive, very creative. And I've always been, just so like, what people would call out there. You know what I'm saying? And I would just start jumping around, start singing, start dancing, start doing all this stuff. And then, some of my family members and even some of my peers at school have started laughing at me and roasting me, because I was too wild. And because I didn't like being embarrassed, I started watering myself down. And so, anytime I would see people just laughing and kicking it and expressing themselves, I would want to do that. But I had these subconscious blockages that prevented me from doing that. And so I didn't want to, stand out too much. I didn't want to look like a fool. I didn't want to, stand out too much. You know what I'm saying? And also this instance that happened to me in the 7th grade, right? I used to, I saw this, fine girl that went by the name of Dallas. And I remember telling her one time, hey, I think you're cute. I think we have a connection together. And next day, I get on a bus, right? And people are just looking at me, just snickering and laughing their asses off and roasting me by mocking, the words, I think I have a connection. I think I have a connection. Just pretty much just dogging the fuck out of me. And, and that just reinforced those feelings of unworthiness and that feeling of inadequacy. You know what I'm saying? And that made it even more, and that made me even more afraid than I already was before that experience happened to approach women and to tell them exactly how I feel, because I associated being myself and shooting my shot with, me being scrutinized. But, it took me some time to heal from those insecurities. But now I don't give a shit, I have a girlfriend right now, so I'm not going to shoot my shot in the sense of going out on dates and whatnot because I'm taken. But, with shooting my shot in terms of just putting myself out there and being my authentic self unconditionally and unapologetically. And I started to learn to love myself more, regardless of, what people have said about me. Now, I just don't give a shit. I'm going to express myself. I'm going to be wild. I'm going to express my creativity. I'm going to express my vision how I see fit. And if you don't like it, well, oh well. Not my problem. And also, since I'm a big Robert Greene fan, I started reading his books in 2016, right? And the first ever book I read by him was Art of Seduction. But in the 48 Laws of Power, it's going to be more relevant to what I'm talking about. Sorry about that, guys. My camera battery died and I had to charge it. But anyways, what I was saying is, just because someone doesn't know about angel numbers doesn't mean that, they're not spiritual. You know what I mean? And, a lot of judgment comes from ego. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like when you judge somebody, you're actually judging yourself, because, if you truly believe that we were all one, then you would treat people nicely. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be out here judging people harshly, and you won't be making sure that this is still on, because I don't want to be embarrassed later going into editing, kicking myself saying, damn, like I forgot to cut my mic on. But anyways, you just don't want to go out here just judging people just because, they're not doing what you would consider spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's on their own journey. Everybody learns at their own time, and everybody has practices that work for them. So you going around here judging people is not actually helping people. It's actually like hurting their expansion, and it's hurting your expansion as well. And so you want to make sure that you keep an open mind at all times. And, you start having more compassion, not only for self, but also for other people. You know what I mean? And so just keep on going and going and going and going on your journey. Yeah, and just keep on going and keep on, just traveling your own journey. I read up in Stuart Wilde's book, and I think it's called like How to Manifest More Miracles, where he was discussing that whenever, you can't actually wish miracles in somebody else's life, because first and foremost, you're not in control what they manifest. And second of all, that's infringing upon somebody else's expansion. And so by you going around just giving them this advice just out of the blue, actually hurts them in the long run. And it also makes them resentful of you because, for one thing, they didn't ask for the advice. If they wanted the advice, they would have asked you for it. But if you go around trying to, but instead, if you just leave them be and you just like, plant seeds subtly inside of their head, they'll just learn on their own time, and you can't control that. And so what you got to do is just like put the information out there on the internet or off the internet and just leave it alone thereafter. Don't even attach to the outcome. Let people learn on their own time. And I also want to speak on something else before I segue into this next point is, I've noticed, me and my girlfriend have noticed, especially on Facebook, that in the spiritual communities, like these different groups and stuff are very, very cliquish. And, they promise to be like open and welcoming and accepting. But when we tried like sharing our own videos in those groups, they would just private message us and say like, we don't allow these type of videos in our group. Like, please stop sharing in our group. And I'm just like, well, what the hell? Like, I thought y'all was like in tune with spirit or God. And I thought that, us discussing spiritual information was, going to be like beneficial, for your group and help us expand and grow and evolve. But we just kept noticing this pattern over and over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where we just like, man, like, what the hell? Like, I thought people was better than this. And that's a paradigm that needs to be shifted. And I'm going to segue into my next point, which is, the clique mentality or the group mentality. You know what I mean? Like, you notice in grade school that, there's all of these cliques, right? You got the emos, you got the athletes, or, the jocks that they call it. You got the ghetto kids. You know what I'm saying? I've seen plenty of them. But anyways, you notice, the thespians or the acting geeks, or, they're mainly known as, theater nerds. I'm a theater nerd myself, because I like acting, but, I was hanging around these different groups of people just to try to expand my mind and learn about the culture within their group. But, we all know that, excluding yourself to a certain group and excluding other people out is a form of separation. And since it's a form of separation, it's out of ego. And when you act out of ego, and I'm not saying that the ego is bad or anything, because we obviously need the ego in order to exist in this reality, because otherwise we wouldn't be here if we didn't have an ego. That shit is going to literally ruin your life if you allow your ego to have full on control. So that is why it's imperative to keep that ego in check and to make sure that you're not letting it run the show, and to remind it that your higher self is the in the driver's seat and it's in charge, and not the ego, because the ego wants to keep you locked within your own bubble. And I was just having this talk with my girlfriend, recently, where we was talking about how, I need to start speaking more in like, plain folks terms, or layman's terms, if you will, instead of using like these big words. You know what I'm saying? Because since I'm so used to being in that school type of environment and reading different types of books and saying, big words and whatnot, and especially me being college educated, that is like put me in a certain bubble to where I speak a lingo that me and only a hand select few people understand. But, for most people, they're not using like these words that, you're reading in these books. They're just using like regular old words, like go, walk, sleep. You know, instead of people saying, I'm going to retire tonight, they're saying, I'm going to sleep tonight. And instead of saying, you know, I feel like life, instead of saying nihilism, they say life has no meaning. And instead of saying, you know, I don't even know what the hell to think. You know, that's all I can come up with right now. You know, it's just like little things like that, you know, can help people, because if you use certain terminology like, you know, vibrational frequency, law of attraction, manifestation, some people don't understand what those terms mean. And they're just going to be looking at you like, what do you mean law of attraction or chakras or, you know, higher consciousness, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, so on and so forth. Or speaking light code, you know, speaking in light language, or, you know, talking about light codes and dark codes. Most people do not know what the hell that shit is. And they just gonna look at you like you crazy. And so like, that's something that I'm challenging myself to do, is speaking more in like plain folks terms. You know what I mean? And it's just like when you use like, you know, these terms that I just mentioned, it's like you're speaking a foreign language. Like, yeah, you know, you and the other person may speak English or Spanish or whatever, but energetically y'all speak different languages. And so I'm just going to roll the clip of a meme that I made, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
What is he talking about? What is my guy talking about? Who is he talking to?
See what I mean? You know, that's how most people are going to look at you like, what? But yeah, you know, you got to get out of that herd mentality and realize that you are one with everything, and that, you know, you're not separate from anybody. All right. So the last and final point that I want to touch on before I wrap up this video is called pride, right? And I'm going to speak to you about a recent experience that I had. You know, I remember like around like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I remember just like, you know, running down on snacks fast in my dorm, and I only had like a little bit of money left from, you know, traveling to go see my girl, right? And I was just buying a bunch of fast food every day, and that was just draining my finances a lot. And because, you know, all of that went down, you know, I just noticed in myself just eating less and less and less and less, because I didn't have any Shasta bucks, which is like some in-school currency for the University of Houston. You know what I'm saying? And also, you know, I only had like $11.85 in my account, and I was low on snacks. So I'm just like, bruh, something's got to give here, man. Like, I can't keep doing this, you know? And that was like, you know, a mini tower moment, so to speak, because, you know, I was in this mentality of, you know, not asking for help and just thinking that I can do everything by myself and that I didn't need nobody's help. But, you know, at that moment, I was forced to confront the fact that, you know, I do need some help before I get some more money. And I was talking to my girlfriend about it, and she was like, baby, you know, you can't be afraid to ask for help. You know, you got to get over that pride, you know. And I was acting out of pride this whole time. And because of that, I got myself in that sticky situation that I didn't want to be in again. And so I was like, fuck it, you know, I'm going to ask for help. I'm at my wit's end, you know, and I don't want to starve. And so, you know, I asked my mom for some money to go grocery shopping, and I asked her if I could order some pizza. So I ordered like 2 boxes of pizza, like 2 medium boxes of pizza from Pizza Hut on campus. And when I tell you, like, the pizza never tasted so good in my life, not because it's like Domino's pizza is the best pizza in the world, but because I haven't like really eaten that much that week. You know what I'm saying? I was pretty much eating Chick-fil-A, Mondo subs, and McDonald's. And so it really did help satisfy my hunger. And I was so grateful in that, you know. And also when I caught the Metro bus to and from HEB, you know, and I was carrying groceries on the bus, you know, that whole experience has humbled me a lot, you know, and it's helped me tame my ego a bit and let me know that it's okay and that people are willing to help you and that not everybody is like your family where they're going to criticize you every time you need help. And that's where the feelings of unworthiness and, you know, feeling like I'm a burden on everybody else since I'm asking them for help, you know, as came about was because of my upbringing. But, you know, that was like, you know, something that needed to be healed within myself. And so since I let my pride go, I've expanded a whole lot. And it's reminded me that not everybody's there to, you know, just criticize you. And there are people that are willing to help you at the time of need. So I just say all this to say that, you know, you have to get over that pride. You know, you got to stop thinking that you don't need help and that you can just do it by yourself, because that is not true at all. You know what I'm saying? Because pride will lead to your downfall real quick and you're not going to get very far in life. So I ain't got nothing else to say on this video. I just wanted to say, you know, I just wanted to touch on these 5 points. You know, I wanted to touch on this topic for a while, but I didn't. But now I'm doing it. So, yeah, with that being said, you know, thank you guys for watching this video and tuning into my channel. Hope you guys, you know, enjoy the new look on the video, because this is pretty much what I'm going to be doing for my future YouTube videos, you know, going forward. But yeah, anyways, you know, if you're new to this channel, I want to say welcome, 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 welcome. I'm glad to have you here. You know, make sure to click that subscribe button and hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every Friday that I upload videos to this channel. And also make sure to go ahead and share this video to all your social media platforms and to your friends and family if you believe that they can benefit, you know, from this information. And make sure to smash the hell out of that like button and make sure to timestamp in the comments your favorite moment in the video so that I know what to double down on and what your thoughts on, you know, the different points that are covered in this video, you know, what worked in the video and what didn't, so I can improve on my videos, because I welcome any and all feedback. You know, put the feedback in a comment section and let me know like what works, what doesn't, you know, and how I can improve my videos so I can be able to serve you guys. And last but not least, you know, well, I'm not going to say lastly, but, you know, if you want to donate to the channel, make sure to click the link in the description below to do so. And, you know, if you want to check out my podcast, you know, the link to my podcast is in the description below as well. And is there anything else I want to say? Oh, yeah, you know, if you're interested in my video photography or audio editing, photo editing, and, you know, photography services, you can go ahead and email me at 8milproductions@gmail.com, you know, so that, you know, we can start talking and about, you know, a consultation and seeing what, you know, your vision is like and what project you need help with my services on. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in to the YouTube channel. You know, I sincerely thank you for your time. And as always, peace in and out with the highest vibes, and I'll see you guys next Friday.